So it's a year later. What's went on with this tank? You know, we stopped updates about midway through the summer. I just got a little overwhelmed. I had a lot of stuff going on, and it takes a lot of time to edit these videos. So a year later, this tank, it's grown. The coral has grown. There is no doubt. You could look at it, and it's grown maybe 3-4 inches. Some of the plating coral has grown at least 3/4 of an inch. I know this coral here has grown 2 to 3 heads. It's all grown. Some of this bird's nest, I can't remember if it's bird's nest or stylo. It's very thin. It's very long and drawn out. The stalks are very thin, and the polyps are only on the end. And what's gone is all the color. When I bought all this stuff, a lot of it had intense color, and it does not. It's very bland, maybe a little bit of green on the end, but kind of bland. So, you know, it's a success in that the coral has lived in this tank for a year. Let's put it that way, and it's grown. But it's not a success in the fact that, you know, I didn't get the coloration I wanted. I didn't get the growth I wanted. I mean, this is growth, but I don't consider this good growth. So what do you do with that, right? The Cheeto, I've never pruned it. I did kind of the Triton thing. I left it in there, but I didn't do the Triton thing, and then I really never tested it. I would check alkalinity once in a while. I would change the water maybe once a month, maybe a couple times a month. It was depending on the month. And then I would test once in a while for elk. That was about it. That's about the extent of what went on with this tank. I didn't do a lot. I had one fish. I had a Springer damsel that, oddly enough, around the 1-year anniversary mark in December, I think it was, actually it would have been 11 months, he wound up jumping out of the tank. I think he got spooked by something in the room in the early morning, and he just bolted. It was really a shame because I bought him just as a little guy, and being the only guy in here, he got fed every day. He was nice, and just a huge disappointment to me. That's the problem with running open top tank. But I figured there was nobody else in here, and it's a damsel. They're usually not jumpers. So let's do a little update on the tank. Let's just do a review. We haven't really talked about it much. What do we got going on down here? So you've got your ATO bucket, right? This is all the power center underneath here. I built this stand. I don't think this was in the other review, and I didn't spend a lot on this because it's just a cheap Nano Challenge tank. This is actually a shelf I turned sideways and put 2 2x4s underneath it. I know, really sophisticated. So we've got down here a basic power bar, and we've got this, I think it's an E family smart power bar from Amazon. They're like 20 or 30 bucks. They are the best thing. You can do voice control through Siri. If you have Alexa, it works. I believe the Android stuff works. There's an app for setting timers, turning it on and off. It's exactly what you need on here for that level of, you know, timer, but a little more sophisticated, not full apex, but you want to get away from the basic mechanical timers, right? Sometimes you want to turn things on and off or maybe pick certain days. You can do that with this. It's pretty awesome, and you can do it from anywhere in the world. It gets onto your Wi-Fi network, and from anywhere in the world, you can control these outlets, which is pretty cool. We've got an ATO and then a Tunzine 6040, and that's the flow in here that we're doing is the Tunzine. Over on this side, the Refugium, of course, we've got Miracle Mud, Cheeto. I've got a Marine Pure block in the back that was seated in another tank prior to going into this tank. There's a small Eheim pump for a return, and then you've got this side, which is just sand, some live rock, which was uncured going in here, that I glued together. I used a Dremel, carved it out, if you guys remember, to make the structure. The structure worked awesome. The fish that was in there loved it. The caves were awesome. Next time, I think what I would do differently next time, I would make it actually a little smaller, because as this bird's nest grew out, it was difficult to clean the glass because the bird's nest was getting bigger and the glass cleaner, it's large, right? It's a large device to get in there. For lighting, we've got a very old Kessel A350 that the fan quit on, that I found another computer fan a little smaller and I put in there and wired to a separate power supply. Very hacky, but it works. Our Refugium light, I don't know if you can see that. That's cut into this top. That is a $12 light from Amazon. A cheap light, worked great. $12. Never had an issue with it. As you can see, it grew the Chaeto. Everything grew, so awesome. You know, the lid, I've never fixed it, but I used plexiglass. And I think you have to use a form of acrylic or something like that to stop it from warping. If you know, put it in the comments below. Someone told me before, but I forgot. So that's an update on this tank. What am I going to do with it? I can't watch the coral do this anymore, and I don't have the time to, to dose this little tank. I was going to put a doser on here. I don't have the time, the cost. It's just I had 4 tanks at one time. It's too many. So I'm trying to focus down my efforts, because this year, 2018, I think as far as tank success, or last year, 2018, tank success was the worst. I had the least growth I've ever had. I have more water volume to manage, to take care of in different tanks. I had a lot of deaths. My other tank, I tried adding fish, and I was getting fish with flukes, with ick. God, you name it. I had issues across the board with everything. And I think part of it was due to all these 4 different systems I was running, trying to keep them all going. It's a little difficult. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this coral and we're going to transfer it to the other tank. I think it'll do a lot better. Early on, one of these pieces I put in my other tank, the larger tank, and it's a ball like the size of a baseball now. So the growth rate compared this to that, undeniable. That tank is way better. It's got way better lighting, way better flow. The water changes are more regular. This tank, it just got neglected, and it's very difficult to maintain all these tanks. I think maybe coming back later, I'm not going to shut it down. I'm going to turn the light off, maybe put it on a very limited schedule. I'm going to remove all the corals, but maybe coming back later, maybe with a softy tank. Something that requires a little less maintenance, something I don't have to dose, I think would be awesome. I think the type of coral that's in here is a little too high in the care level for this type of tank. So there you have it. Oh, we've got the last thing I was talking about, the hardware, and I forgot. The VCA nozzle. I believe it's a VCA nozzle. It gives you that random flow generator, worked pretty good. I don't think my return pump has enough flow on this tank. I've got them on my other tank and they work great. This tank, you can see a little bit of randomness, but the pump is so weak, I don't think it's giving me what I need. Other than that, it's been on cruise control. We do have a fighting conch in here, and he has kept the sand bed pretty clean. He'll sleep for a couple weeks at a time, and then he'll come back and he'll just destroy all the algae, eat it all, and then he'll go back to sleep. He's been sleeping a while. Looks like he's trying to wake up. I see his, I don't know if you can see it, his little nose is coming up there. So that's it. We'll do a video. We'll move this coral to the other tank. We're going to do an update on that tank. We've got my Solana, my frog spawn tank I got to do an update on. So I've got a lot of things in store. Maybe I'll go back and some of these videos that I didn't finish, I'll bring them back and I'll just release them. So thanks for tuning in. There's the update. Rico's Nano Challenge 2018 come to a completion.
It's getting serious on this track, fam.
we'll get into that. We're going to do an overview of the one. Wrap up video 1. Rico's Nano Challenge Reef Tank. What's up? Welcome back to Joe's Coral Reef. Today we are killing a reef tank. He started to fatten up. He was a good little fish. I don't know what the issue was there. What other kind of drama did we have? Any kind of drama?